Welcome to this short video which explains the functionality and the results from the Eclipse Business Rules Checker. My name is Martin Davison and I'm an aerospace and defence consultant in the Mekon's Aerospace and Defence Department. What you're going to see in this short video is the process of checking the files with the Eclipse BREX Checker, and you'll see just how straightforward that process is, and with very little training you can operate this straight out of the box without much difficulty at all. Really, only the last stage requires any knowledge of XML and the schema itself, and correcting any errors can of course be carried out using our Eclipse S1000D for FrameMaker application. As you can see from this simple block diagram here, the checking process is very straightforward. Simple steps result in a log file, and it's really, as I've said before, only the last stage requires any XML knowledge. So you can see that the stages really are just selecting the BREX, selecting the file to be checked, initiate the process, and if there's any errors found, view the log file, and then you correct the file. This, you can see now, is the GUI for the Eclipse BREX Checker. And to start the system off, we click on the menu item for BREX Checker, and it opens up a window which enables us to get what we need and start the process. First thing we must do is to select the BREX that we're working to. This one here is the ATA BREX. Now we've got the choice of either handling a single file or a folder, and for the moment we're going to just do a single file. So to enable us to do that, we browse clearly for the single file. So what happens, of course, when you browse, you get a window which pops up to say which one do you want to select. I'm going to pick this top one here and then open it up. That gets put into the text box there, and we then start the process by clicking the process button. It feeds back into this window here and it tells us finish checking. You'll notice it says an error, see that log file, errors have occurred, check the log files. So what we can do then is, first of all, to click on the view the logs, and what I'm going to do is to enlarge that a bit so that you can actually see a bit better what it is. And you can see there that what we've got is a 5-column table, and in this first path one here, which tells us where the problem lies and tells us in this use thing what actually is supposed to happen in there. Now this window has drawbacks, and we'll have a look in a moment at the way round. So what I've done here now as an alternative is to open up the folder where the test files are located. And you'll see here that this particular entry is the one that we called into the BREX Checker. You'll also note immediately above it is an HTML file, which is actually the log from that processing. So if I double click on that, what I get now is my default browser, which happens to be Firefox in this case, and you can see that we've got the same information but in a much easier to read fashion. Now, one thing that is really advantageous with this is that actually we're able to print it off. So if this log file was several pages long, then we could print it off and then in better time use the printout and tick off each one of the faults that we have found, and then land up with a good document. What we're going to do now is to have a look at the BREX Checker when you're actually pointing at more than one file. So, as per before, we open up the BREX Checker, select the ATA BREX. What we're going to go for now is the folder. So, having selected the folder, we now browse to the folder that we need to work with. And what we need to do now is to find that folder, and it's remembered where we were. So we've now pointed to the folder. So what I'm going to do now is to click the process button. Now there will be a lot of errors here, and I'll explain that when we get to it. Right. So what we've got here now is it tells us that we're processing the file, and it says that we've actually done a number of log files there. So what I'm going to do now is to click on the log files window, and I've got to select a log file now. So we can, we've already seen that log file, which is the one that's highlighted, so we'll go to the next one now. And you can see that there's actually quite a lot of errors in this, and the reason for this is very straightforward. These are standard bytepack data modules, and they have not been constructed using the business rules inserted into the system. So what I'm going to do is to go and show you one of these files in the browser. So what we've got here is the file viewer again, but you'll notice that in fact we now have more log files. Once again, the log file is associated with a specific data module. And so what I'm going to do now is to click on this third one here, third HTML file. And that opens up, as you can see. There's a lot of errors in here. And it tells you here the specific S1000D info code is not allowed. So these are all the rules that actually we've got all those codes in there which aren't allowed. So you have to go through the system and change that. So we come to another line here. The applit crossref table ref is not there, and it's mandatory, so you're supposed to have it there. So what you would do then would be to open up Eclipse S1000D FrameMaker and bring the data module in there and work your way through. Now what I'm going to do first of all is that this is one of the files being brought into Eclipse S1000D for FrameMaker. So the first thing I'm going to do is to make sure that in fact we have the right system inserted. So what we've got there is this the ATA CMP, and it's now working. So what I'm going to do is I opened up that one just to show you what it was like, so I'm going to close it. We have to close it and then bring in the data module that we want. So that was the one. Bring it in, drag and drop. And what we have now is that our Eclipse S1000D for FrameMaker has actually now been configured to work with the ATA specification. Now what that means is that actually there may well be things in here which are not correct, and if that's the case, then often we get dotted lines there. So what I'm going to do first of all to check about elements and things like that is to do a validate on it. So let's take that up there and click start validating, and it's come up with missing element before applit. So what's missing from there? The app cross-reference table is missing from there. DMREF, and I'm just going to pick one of these. This is the data reference manager. So we've now got that bit sorted. Start validating again. The document is valid. The document structure is valid, but there are other things that are wrong. So what I'm going to do is to bring up the log file as a result of the parsing that we've just done. And what you can do then is to go to the various bits, bit by bit, and then make sure that the work has been done. So if we look at this one here, click cross-reference table, DMREF, ident, DM code, the info code should be WW. Well, I know that that can't be the case because it was coming in from somewhere else. So what we have to do then is to go down through here, find the error, find the item, and then change the code. It's very simple to do that in here, the two things side by side. So it's very important that actually you do that because then you land up with a document which is very much in accordance with the S1000 ATA business rules. So you can see using the BREX Checker with our Eclipse 1000D is a very good way of working. So we've reached the end of this short video, and thank you very much for watching. I hope you'll find it instructive. If you want any more information about this product or any of our products, the telephone number is there on the screen, or you can email sales@mekon.com and somebody will get back to you quickly with a query to actually what exactly it is you want. And we can demonstrate any of our applications quite happily so that you can actually get a better feel for what it is that we can offer you.